In this video, I'm going to share with you how to choose a sleeping pad for camping, backpacking, and adventuring. There are several considerations that you have to look at when you're choosing a sleeping pad, and I'm going to share all of those different things that you need to consider when you're looking at all of these different options. Full disclosure, I'm not sponsored by any of these products I show you. I'll put links below in the description so you can go check them out on your own accord, but I haven't received any of these for free to add to this review, so full disclosure there. And also, please leave comments in the video below that if you have ideas or questions for future videos that I can provide you better information with, based on my experience of lots of cold nights and suffering so you don't have to experience what I did, leave the comment below and I'll definitely look at creating a new video. The first consideration when you look at choosing a sleeping pad is what is called the RValue. The RValue is the insulation rating on a sleeping pad, and I'll show you what it shows right here. You can see the RValue of this particular sleeping pad is 2.0. Now compare that with the RValue of some of my thermarests, which are 3, 3, and then up to 9 on my big X-Ped mat. What this whole RValue thing means is that is the relative insulating capacity of the particular pad that you're using. So that allows you to compare the insulating ability of a foam pad versus a non-insulating pad versus a specially designed pad versus a down-filled pad. Now, you might be familiar with R ratings and insulation in your home. If not, do a quick web search, check out R ratings to help better understand that. I don't want to go too much into it, other than it allows you to compare relative insulation value of your mattress compared to others. Now, when you're backpacking versus camping, the big consideration is weight versus durability. And the weight versus durability is a big thing because this pad, this foam pad that has literally been around the world with me, has never gone flat, has never had a problem. The valves haven't failed at all. Compare that to my basic uninsulated thermarest pad. I've put 2 holes in this thing. Yep, and I'll tell you the story about those at the end of the video. They're pretty dang funny. But the weight versus durability is a big question. Foam pads are incredibly light for what they give you compared to the air insulated pad. Interestingly enough, the foam pad and this insulated pad weigh within a couple of ounces or a few tens of grams of each other, so they're ultra close in capability. However, durability is a big thing. If you think you're going to be sleeping in the desert or places that are super prickly, a la Aconcagua, where they warn you, be careful with an air mat, make sure to bring a foam pad because you will flat it, that's a big consideration. So knowing that the damage resistance is a big deal is a factor, and I'll tell you the story about the 2 damages on this sleeping pad in addition to the others at the end of the video. The next question is backpacking versus camping. What style are you going to do when you're going to go out in the wilderness? Are you going to be carrying things on your back, or are you going to get them in the car, just toss them out and have a good time? Backpacking sleeping pads, which this happens to be, tend to only fit your body, no more than that. I'll put it on as a cape just to show you what it's like, just to see how big it is. It's not that big, but really you don't need or want it any bigger because you don't want to carry the weight. Compare that with a camping or expedition sort of mat, where the mat might be a little bit larger. I'll stand in front of this one. You'll see it's a little bit bigger than my foam mat, but not by much. At some of the big box stores, you can buy these huge pads that are super nice, and they're nice to roll around on, to snuggle up, whatever you want to do. So that's something you want to look at, is how big do you really want it, depending on how much you thrash around at night in your sleeping bag or in your down or in your synthetic quilt. That's a big consideration. Now, the next option to consider is how long is this pad versus how tall you are. There are 2 basic styles of pad. One is called a 3/4 length, which this pad is, and also this pad is, or are, these pads are 3/4 length which means they go down to about just under my booty and to the back of my thigh. Compare that to a full-length sleeping pad, which, as you can see here, I'm 6 foot tall, or about 183 centimeters, and this pad is as tall as I am, versus if I take this pad, put it on the floor, you can see it's a substantial difference in the height. Now compare that to my ultra insulated but still super light Expedition pad. It is the same as my down-filled X-Ped pad, so that is really nice when I'm going cold camping and I'm really fighting with things like on Denali or Greenland. This is a great pad to have. But for backpacking, I prefer the 3/4 length pads simply because it cuts down the weight. And I don't have this very awkward pad to deal with in my tarp. The advantage of the 3/4 length pad is weight. You just don't have to carry as much. But that said, you need to use your backpack under your legs to protect your feet and heels and calves and whatnot from the ground. So the choice of length versus weight is always a thing. When I'm cold weather camping, I've used 3/4 length pads and I don't get as good a sleep, so I've had to break down. Yeah, I'm getting weak, I know, and get a full length pad. But on Denali and places like that, you have a chance where your heels or your legs are going to end up off the pad and on the ice, and then you get frostbite in your heels, and that's something you don't want to consider and experience. There are 3 fundamental styles of pads. One are foam, closed cell foam, open cell foam. You can get these at your local outdoor store, a big box store, Orange, whichever. There are lots of options to get these. They're moderately priced. They're still a little bit spendy in the Z-Rest. Check out links below in the description, you'll see that. The next style of pads are the air pads that you inflate, and there are 2 styles of that as well. The U-inflate pad literally requires you to go like I just filled this up, I'm still a little lightheaded, where you end up blowing up the air mat with your lungs. Now, on that style of air pad, it's great for the summer where warmth isn't a major factor. However, in the winter, I have my Xtherm, what is it called? Yeah, Extreme, the Xtherm Extreme here, and you do not want to use your breath, from your big pie hole here to inflate it. Instead, you want to use the inflation bag that comes with this bag to fuff it open, put it over the valve, roll it up, and then go to fill up the bag, because you do not want your warm, moist breath inside of this insulated bag or insulated pad, including especially a down insulated bag or pad, because that breath is full of moisture, no matter how dry it is, and that moisture will begin to fill your air mattress, and guess what? It will turn to ice, and your nice insulated high-tech sleeping pad will turn basically into an ice cube that makes you really miserable. So the lesson is, if your bag or your pad comes with an insulation or an inflation bag, do not use your breath to fill this thing up. This sort of pad, no problem. The third type of pad, I don't have it here, but I'll put a link below, are the self-inflating pads. Self-inflating pads are super nice because all you literally do is get to camp, open the valve, and the pad literally magically inflates itself, and voila, you simply close the valve and you're ready to go. Self-inflating pads are super nice for car camping. They save time, they save effort, they're pretty convenient, and there's the total cool factor of watching the foam expand in your bed, literally appearing without you doing any effort. I don't have those. I used to, but I used to enjoy a lot more car camping rather than backpacking and expeditioning. Like I talk about in my book, Adventure Expedition 1, those 3 different types, and I give more details on there. But the self-inflating ones, just over time, the foam died for me. It wasn't great for me, but others swear by them. They love them. So This is one of those that you have to decide which way you want to go, because the self-inflating ones are also much heavier than the non-self-inflating ones. So big consideration there. Also note that the foam pads are not that great for people who sleep on their sides. They just aren't, because they're just not that thick. I've brought my Z-Rest only to camp many times in the Sierras and the Rockies, and I like to sleep on my side, but I wake up, my arm's numb, I think my arm's dead, and so that's a consideration. If you tend to be a side sleeper, the foam pad may not be the best way to go. At the end of the video, I'll also share my stack-up style of pads as well, so stay tuned. The other option are the air pads, where you can totally side sleep on these things. Super, super nice. If you're a back sleeper and you totally back sleep and you never sleep on your side, the foam pads are great. They completely just cover you up. You use your jacket as a pillow. Do not bring a pillow backpacking. It's embarrassing. Use your jacket. Do not carry weight for one activity. Trust me about that. So depending on how you sleep will determine whether you choose a foam pad or an air insulated pad. And the next thing is, do you want a down-filled air mat? If you choose air mats, a no-fill air mat, or a special kinky style weird insulation system. Down-filleds are incredibly well. This is the exact air mattress I used in Antarctica and Greenland in my polar treks. Love it. Super, super nice. It's heavier. You have to maintain it a bit more, but boy, the warmth is incredible. The warmth on this one, where it's just a straight up standard Neo Air, forget it. If it's cold, you're gonna freeze your booty off. This pad I have used on Denali, I have used on Kilimanjaro, worked great in conjunction with my foam pad that I'll explain in a moment. So that's a consideration. Also, air mats, not only do they have the valve, which is super convenient to inflate, but there is the risk of your valve failing or some feather or dust or grit or whatever getting into the valve, and then you enjoy a very slow leak where at 2 a.m. you invariably wake up, oh my gosh, I'm freezing my back, and you realize your air mattress is completely That has happened to me. I've gotten a couple down, not down feathers, but pieces of down in the deflation valve here, and it's literally 3 a.m. I'm sleeping on Antarctic ice. It was pretty funny. Geez, so when you're using a valve, make sure you keep these clean. Don't eat your free-dried dinner with crumbs coming out of your mouth and then inflate your pad. First, that's disgusting and unsanitary, and you're gonna breathe food into your air mattress. Gross, but you'll also jack up that valve so it can't deflate. For extreme cold, like below minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, I can't remember what that is in Celsius, but whatever it is, you can figure that one out. That, especially at minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, the one big failing of this style air mattress and this style air mattress and this style air mattress is a factor called cold soaking. Cold soaking means that nylon or synthetic fabrics actually feel like aluminum. They literally suck the heat out. You take your glove off, you touch this, and it almost hurts when it's minus 40 degrees. So here's the trick about what I do as a stack up is when I'm camping on Denali or in a glacier or wherever, what I do is I pull out my foam mat, and it doesn't matter silver side up or down. I've tried both. I've got viewers on YouTube and my subscribers that debate it. I've found no difference between the foil up or the foil down. Theoretically, you're supposed to put foil up, but it didn't mean anything to me at minus 20, so I didn't care. But my stack up is I put the foam pad on top of my air pad to prevent me from contacting that cold fabric, and then the foam does not suck the heat out like the cold fabric does at extreme cold temperatures. Most other YouTube channels and people recommend doing the stack up where you put the foam pad on bottom and then the air mattress on top. It is a little bit easier to deal with. It doesn't slide around as much in this setup, But what I do is I simply take some 550 paracord, link in the description, and I just put a wrap or two around the air mattress. Let me get this one out of the way. The air mattress here, and that works great for me because when it's super cold, contacting nylon fabric stinks. It is freaking freezing. So even though the RValue is good, the cold soaking factor is a major consideration when you're going into cold places. So that's that. The price of these things, anywhere from 45 bucks to 75 to 95 bucks to $180 to $200, $300, or $400, depending on what you're looking at. These all sound expensive, but you can go to your local big box store, get a basic air mat or foam pad, and do just fine. When I was in the Boy Scouting program, I didn't have all this trick stuff. I just earned I can't remember, it's like a 1-inch thick foam pad that I still use today. It's at my parents'. It still works fine too, so don't think you gotta blow mega bucks to go out and adventure in the outdoors. But what these do is they're just a little bit more efficient and a little bit more comfortable. Now, on to the damage. The 2 holes that I put in my sleeping pad, one here, you can see the repair, and then one there. The consequence of me being reckless and dreary-eyed. One critical thing to make sure that if you use an air mattress is bring a repair kit that you can use at 2 a.m. in a storm, not the glue fancy, I can't remember, oh yeah. I mean, my X-Ped mat, because of expeditions, it comes with all this tricked out stuff and repair kit and glue and whatnot. But I prefer to use just the little flat patches that are sold at bike stores, the little flat boys or whatever. Yeah, here we go. The Park Tools Super Patch, love those things. That's how I did both of these repairs at night. On a major expedition where you have this and you get a bigger tear or something, those little patches won't cut it. So you're going to need a bigger patch, big consideration. But my big failure, here it is that when you are on the sleeping pad at night and choosing the right sleeping pad for you, if you like to wriggle around and go crazy at night, air mattresses may not be for you, because sticks and pokey things, no matter how much you think you've cleared the ground, there will be a stick and you will wriggle around. And at 1:30 in the morning, in the middle of the Sierras, I'm wriggling around and all of a sudden I hear and in seconds I'm on the cold hard ground because I poked a hole through this sleeping pad. I was being lazy. If you wriggle around and you're using an air mattress, roll off the air mattress, reposition the air mattress, roll back on it, you will be fine. That seems irritating until you flat your air mattress in the Pacific Northwest in a rainstorm when it's 31 degrees or like 0 degrees Celsius. Trust me on this one. Second hole, I was being lazy like a decade later. I mean, I've had this pad for like 10 years, a long, long time. I didn't follow my rules. It was storming, lightning, I was exposed, and I'm trying to wriggle around to get set. And I couldn't find my repair kit, my mistake, and I got to enjoy sleeping on the cold, hard ground for a night. That was totally funny. You got to laugh about those things. So hopefully this video has given you a much better idea on how to choose sleeping pads for your camping, adventuring, climbing, and expeditioning. I have a link below in the description to my book, Adventure Expedition 1, that tells you more details about air mattresses, and also my book, How to Keep Your Feet Warm in the Cold, that gives you better ideas to keep your feet warm while using air mattresses. My name's Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and professional adventurer. Please check out links below to the products in this video and to my books, Antarctic Tears, Lost at Windy Corner, Adventure Expedition 1, How to Keep Your Feet Warm in the Cold, the 2024 Total Eclipse Guides, the Most Crucial Knots to Know book, and yeah, I think that's it. And also my show World Beyond and my show Antarctic Tears. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe to the channel so you can get more adventure and outdoor stuff. Thank you very much for watching. See ya.